All right. Welcome. My name is Erik Kain. This is a new series we're going to be running here at Forbes Games called Next Week in Video Games. And like the title says, this is just a show about what's coming out next week in video games. And this can be anything from new releases, new DLC, big gaming events, or even something like a 2XP event in Call of Duty, which is going on this weekend. If you are a Warzone or Black Ops Cold War player, you can earn 2XP all weekend long, which is kind of cool. There's new content in that game from the Season 3 Reloaded this week as well. But we'll mostly be looking at games this week coming out next Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Most game releases are on Tuesdays, although increasingly we're seeing the releases on Thursdays and Fridays as well. So we'll just dive right in. We're going to save the best for last here. If you know my taste and you see the thumbnail for this video, you may have an idea of what that game is, but I'm going to save it for last. We'll start with Final Fantasy XIV. That's coming out on May 25th, next Tuesday, on PlayStation 5. Now, Final Fantasy XIV is an MMO that's been around for nearly a decade. It came out in 2013 on PS3 and PC, and it's been a huge success. This is not a free-to-play game. This is like World of Warcraft. This is a pay-to-play, subscription-based MMO set in the Final Fantasy world. It is actually the second version of Final Fantasy XIV. The original version was so bad they just scrapped the whole thing, created a new version, and that was obviously the right move on Square Enix's part. There's actually 22 million active players as of April 2021, so this is a major success story in terms of MMOs. One of the only really big success stories in the MMO landscape since, World of Warcraft. So that the PlayStation 5 version of that, with all the upgraded visuals and frame rates and everything else, comes out on Tuesday, the 25th. And then later this year, in November, there's the Endwalker expansion. So that'll also be coming to PS5 and other platforms. Then we have the Nintendo Switch release of Maneater, which is a shark role-playing game. It's kind of a goofy concept, but you play as a shark. You have to grow from a baby shark to a full-grown shark, and you have to not get eaten by alligators, and you hunt humans and other fish, and it's kind of a goofy game, but if you like that sort of thing, that's coming out on Switch. Then on PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC next Tuesday on the 25th, we have Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, which is a mouthful. It's also a remaster of a PlayStation 2 classic. The original came out in 2003. I don't know if you've played a Persona game like Persona 4, Persona 5. The Shin Megami Tensei games are sort of similar, have a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. They, you fight demons, you use your special powers, you figure out which powers demons are, the enemies are resistant to and which ones they're weak to, and you traverse through strange, twisted realms, fighting monsters and whatnot. So. That's pretty exciting because that is a classic, and I'm looking forward to playing that. I love the Persona games, and I've played some of the Shin Megami Tensei games. So, but it's been a while. I think the last one I played was on the 3DS. So, also on the 25th, we have the Capcom Arcade Stadium, which is a re-release of 32 old arcade games. Only 2 base games come with this. It's 1943, The Battle of Midway, and Ghosts and Goblins, and then there are 3 DLC packs that each have 10 old school arcade games from different eras. There's the Dawn of the Arcade, 1984 to 88, Arcade Revolution, which is 1989 through 92, and then Arcade Evolution, which is 92 through 2001. And there's various games from various Capcom arcade games in each of those packs for a total of 32 games. So if you're hankering for some old school arcade retro and you can't get out there to an actual arcade, which are increasingly difficult to find, especially post-COVID, which is really tragic, you may get your fix with the Capcom Arcade Stadium. I'm having trouble saying Capcom. A couple days later, on Thursday, several more games released next week. Warhammer Age of Sigmar Stormground. It's another one of those Warhammer games with a really long title. This one comes out on PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One next Thursday, May 27th, and it's a turn-based tactical game in the fantasy, sort of barbarian fantasy setting. Warhammer has the sci-fi and fantasy settings. This is a fantasy game. So that comes out the 27th. We'll see. I think the Warhammer franchise in general is sort of oversaturated. There's just always a new licensed Warhammer game, and none of them are the actual Warhammer game. There is no PC version of the miniatures Warhammer game because, of course, Games Workshop doesn't want to license that out. They want to sell their miniatures. But there's been some really good Warhammer games and some sort of subpar ones. Hopefully, this one's good. Also on the 27th, we get Mech Warrior 5. That's coming out on Xbox Series X, PS5, and Steam. It's been an Epic Games exclusive since 2019. It's also the first Mech Warrior game since, I believe, 2002 that's just a single-player game. So Mech Warrior has been an online... there's Mech Warrior Online, which I think was kind of a huge disaster. Mech Warrior 5 is supposed to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to playing it on Xbox Game Pass because this will be included next week for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. Xbox Game Pass subscribers will also want to look for Conan Exiles, which is a pretty cool survival Conan the Barbarian game that's been a huge hit on PC for the last few years. If you like survival games where you have to find food and water and build shelter and fight monsters, this might be for you. Also on the 27th, we've got Earth Defense Force World Brothers, which is the new entry in the Earth Defense Force games, which are kind of, I've never really gotten into the series that much, but this one looks kind of fun. I hear it's pretty good. It's released in Japan already. You can play with up to 4 people, and it's this blocky style. It kind of looks like Minecraft or like a space-agey Minecraft. So that, maybe that, I don't know, something to play with your kids. On Nintendo Switch on the 27th, we get the Oddworld collection, which, the Oddworld games are kind of classics now. This collection comes with Oddworld New and Tasty, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, and Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. So 3 games for the price of 1. I mean, they're all somewhat older games, but it's a classic series. On Friday, the 28th, we have Wonder Boy Asha in Monster World, and this is a remake of Wonder Boy 4 from the Sega Genesis era. I love the Wonder Boy. This is one of the Wonder Boy games I never played back in the day. I played Wonder Boy 2 and 3 a lot. There's some of my favorite games. I didn't have a Sega, but my friend did, so I'd go over there and play those, and they were just amazing games. So this looks fun. It's been... the original composer, the original creator of the Wonder Boy series are both involved. So, but everything else, the graphics are completely remade in a modern 2.5D style. It's very colorful, looks fun. And then finally, we have World's End Club for the Switch, also next Friday. Lots of Switch games next week. This was actually an Apple Arcade game originally, and it's a platformer/visual novel, and I don't know. It looks fine. Not really my cup of tea, but maybe yours. So those are all the games coming out next week, except for one. The one we're saving the best for last, and that is Biomutant. This is from Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic, and I have been waiting for this game for years. It's one of those games that you're honestly a little surprised that it's actually finally coming out because you've been waiting for it for so long. You've seen so many trailers and previews and screenshots, and if I've written about it several times. It just feels like one of those like games that's always going to be on the horizon, and you're never going to reach it. You just hear about it forever and ever, like Elden Ring from Software. But finally, Biomutant is coming out next Tuesday, May 25th. It's coming out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Of course, you can play it if you have a PS5 or Xbox Series X. You can play it on there. It looks fantastic. You play as a little furry guy with a big sword, or various weapons, guns, spears, swords. You can jump really high in the air. You can do all sorts of flips and crazy moves. It looks super fast paced. It's very colorful. It's single player, so if you're looking for a good action adventure RPG single player game, but one that's pretty unique because you play as an animal with you can upgrade different body parts, with like biomechanical legs and arms, and you can learn all sorts of new moves, and it looks, you know, very action oriented, very fast paced, kind of funny, just kind of everything I'm looking for an escapist type game. You know, I want to disappear into a world and just have a, you know, test my skills, hone my skills. This is the kind of game I'm looking for. So I actually do have a review code for this, so I'm going to be playing it, and I will update everyone with some impressions review next week. So that comes out Tuesday. Definitely one of my most anticipated games of 2021. So check that out. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, that's where you should play Mech Warrior 5 for sure. There's a number of other games coming out on Game Pass, and of course next week we should also find out what the new PS Plus games are for June, what the new Xbox Live with Gold games are for June, and probably some other stuff that I'm missing. But these are the sort of the bigger releases. There's not a ton, but there's some cool ones. May has been a pretty good month for video games. We've had Resident Evil Village, which I'm still working my way through, but I really enjoy it so far. And just, you know, quite a few releases. It's honestly, it's a little hard to keep up with all of them. I think things slow down a little bit in June, and usually over the summer we see fewer big releases. But you know, that just depends. Last year in the summer we had The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. So those were two huge Sony exclusives. And we do have, you know, this summer coming up here pretty soon, the Ratchet and Clank for PS5. So tune back in next Friday. I will have these videos with a preview of what's coming up the following week, each week. If you have something you're excited about, hit me up. There will be links down below, and don't forget to subscribe to our new Forbes Games YouTube channel. And, you know, ring the bell, do all that stuff. Give us a like, give us some shares. Thank you for watching. Peace.